Hi, it's 4 o'clock. Time for Kobe Cabin Productions. It's Suzan Hanson. Why Kobe Cabin? It's because I was thinking of things that we do while we're in quarantine that feel positive, like a cabin. So I was thinking cozy cabin productions. So I have liberty to make things that I would like to make. Anyway, today's first episode, as you can see, and I'm a little nervous, as you can see, I'm a little flushed, and I think I'll grow into this, but for right now you have to bear with me a little bit. Last week I bought a ring light so I could light myself better, but it broke yesterday when I was practicing, and so I feel really inept again. Periodically you're going to see some light flashing across the recording here, and it doesn't necessarily mean I'm glowing, although maybe I am, you never know. But it's because I'm at home, and as the cars drive by, the reflection from their windows flashes in my little house here. Anyway, hi, we're back. I was interested to learn, and very proud to learn, that Anthony Davis won a Pulitzer Prize for Central Park 5. Isn't that the most exciting thing? And our LBO was what brought it to the stage for the premiere. Andreas Middesek directing, and the fantastic cast. And I've always been very proud of the work we do at LBO, of course. But I'm particularly proud when someone gets this kind of recognition, deserved recognition. So kudos to everyone, and I'm thrilled. So this is week 4,922 that we've been in stay-at-home orders. And we're all real interested in what everyone else is doing. And as you know, some of what I've been doing is trying to paint, which I'm terrible at, unless you count painting the garage, which I actually have started doing. And next week I'm going to start painting screens, because I've been putting that off for a good 10 years. The other thing I've been doing is cooking more. And I like to think I'm a good cook. Sometimes I'm a good cook. I'm pretty experimentative, is that a word? But I will tell you that my husband, Michael, last week, I made something, and his comment was, please, can we not have that again? So I won't be sending that recipe in, as we used to say to my mom when she made something good. Oh, Mom, you should send this recipe in. I might make another video of cooking. I know that Jenny is particularly interested in my pierogies, which I made quite a big batch of about a month ago, and there are still a number in the freezer. But what I was really thinking might be fun for me is if I make some lefse. Now, I know most of you don't know what lefse is. It's a Norwegian, my heritage. It's a Norwegian flatbread. It looks like a tortilla, but it's made with potato, and it's dry fried, and it's really delicious. And it's usually made around Christmas time. And well, I could make it now. And it takes a couple days, so I would only let you join in at the end when it's the fun part of rolling out and frying. And if any of my cousins are watching this, we can have a Lefse-palooza again remotely, like we always do. The other things that I do when I'm between jobs, we'll say, okay, code for between jobs is, will I ever work again? And I think most of you singers feel the same way. Maybe not all of you, but it's something we deal with on a regular basis, where you have a job and it goes really well, and you think, oh, I finally arrived, I finally made it, and then the job ends, and then you're looking into the distance with little or no job on the horizon. So to fill those times when I'm not working and I wonder if I'll ever work again, I learn new music. And one of the things that I like to look at are things that other people don't necessarily do. So it doesn't have to always be 20th century music, although I do a lot of 20th century exploration. But for instance, Massenet is a fun one to explore. And if you go to a library, a lot of the Massenet scores, the originals, are illuminated, and they're just beautiful to look at, even if you aren't right for any of the parts in the show, which is often the case for me. When I was working at ART, Harvard has a really great music library, as I'm sure you can imagine, and I went in to look at what I could explore while there, and I found these beautiful Massenet scores, and I took them to check them out, and as they were checking them out to me, I said, I can't have these, really, can I? They're first editions, they're illuminated. They said, oh yeah, you can check those out. I was like, but how can you send this out? They said, you should see what we have in the closed stacks. So I took my Massenet home and enjoyed it for the 2 weeks that I could have it. Anyway, so now cut to our quarantine here, not quarantine, but our stay-at-home suggestion. And I've been exploring some new repertoire again. I hesitate to say this. I've told some of my friends about this, but I had this idea that I would learn all the Verdi operas, all the soprano roles, whether I'm right for them or not, of all the Verdi operas, because I know quite a few, and I figured I should finish. So I started on number 1, and Oberto, Re di San something something, and not his best work maybe, and I stalled shortly after that. So I'm on the second opera now. I'll keep you posted about that. And in the meantime, I also started exploring the Puccini I'll probably never sing, which is, or maybe I will, who knows? I'm not going to say never. I started to look at Turandot, or Turandot, but I think it's Turandot. But we can have this argument offline. Really fun. Maybe I'll bring some of it in for you to hear. I'm just hearing that I'm appearing on the screen sideways, so I'm doing something wrong. So let me see here. I don't think I can shift it now. Well, I'm gonna do a bigger angle. How about that? How about that? Jenny, do you like that one? Anyway, I'm going to keep going, and hopefully it'll clarify itself. Try that. Is that better, Jenny? Oy. So you see my little house here. Here's my piano. And on the piano, I have here some programs. This is a program for Threepenny Opera, which was the first opera that I did under Andreas. Okay, I just want to show you this. It's got a great pencil drawing that continues to the back page. I think it's pretty cool. And you know, we used to do these cards for the season, and I particularly like this one, A Revealing Season. Anyway, so in my attempts to be interesting and offer something of interest to you, I thought it would be fun to kind of talk about pursuing character, or why do we do this? Why do we sing? Why do we want to perform? For me, don't get me wrong, having an audience and getting the response from the audience is fantastic. But more than that, I think it's about sharing an experience of the character for the audience to experience with you, as it were. In, I suppose, the Greek way, it's a cathartic experience for the audience. It's also a cathartic experience for the actor-singer. And for me, there are many roads to discover character, many ways to build character, of course. But what I've noticed is that a lot of times my characters stay with me after the show's done. And I don't mean that it's a problem. I just mean that they're like with me. And sometimes, okay, call me crazy, but sometimes when I'm out in the world, then I'll notice that, for instance, Polly Peachum has a reaction to something that isn't necessarily Susan's reaction. I find it comforting, frankly, that the beings, if you will, the energies that we create are out there and in the world. So, oh, here someone just asked, what's my favorite character to perform? You know, that's an impossible thing to answer. It's usually the one I'm working on at the time. There are characters that are harder to, well, I was going to say harder to get into. It's not that they're harder to get into, it's hard not to protect them from themselves. So I'm sure we singers have all felt the desire to say, oh, no, my character would never do that. Well, maybe your character would, but you wouldn't. Somehow in the split, when you realize there's a split between Suzan and Polly, that frees Polly to do what she needs to do. It just happens that Suzan's the vehicle that expresses, for instance, Polly. Oh, and this is 2005. 2005 for Threepenny Opera. Oh, and Threepenny Opera was directed by Christopher Alden, and there were a number of LA actors in the production. So it was a really nice mix of singers and actors. That was the first time I met Hans Tester. You guys probably know him from television. He works a lot on TV. And Mark Bringleson, who you've seen a number of times in LBO productions. One of my favorite characters he played was Mr. Williamson in The Difficulty of Crossing a Field. Some of my neighbors were in the show. Who knew? Kenny Hughes is an actor and choreographer and director here in LA. He also does a lot of film work. And Samantha Murphy, who's since left LA, is a singer-songwriter. And so it was, Christopher Alden led this really interesting group of people in this sort of new exploration of Threepenny Opera. As Christopher's wont to do, he reimagines works often and gets at the heart of the matter and presents them in a way that's a little more accessible to the modern audience. Andreas conducted, and that was the first time I met Andreas. Now, I had so many people in my milieu at the time had said, oh, you have to meet Andreas Mitasek, you guys would hit it off. And that was like for years. And then finally, when Christopher said, I want Suzan for this part, then I finally got to meet him, and oh, everyone was P.S. right. The thing I wanted to say about Polly is that I like to say I'm not a traditional Polly type actress to play Polly because I'm not very ingenue-y. I like to think I can play anything, but I don't always come off as the most ingenue character. So Christopher casting me as this sort of ingenue, and then going back to the original, and I got to sing all these songs like Pirate Jenny and Barbara's song, and it was a gas. And if you remember, shoot, I was going to show some pictures. I forgot to set it up. If you remember, though, I sang Barbara's song lying down, and there was a camera on me that projected onto a television screen way upstage, stage left. And the rest of the cast was sitting watching the television while I was downstage singing the song lying down, sort of like, accident victim, except I wasn't, of course. But it was challenging and memorable for some people to sing that whole song lying down. In that cast was also Philippe Littell, who you probably know as a librettist for Dangerous Liaisons and Streetcar Named Desire. Wonderful actor, wonderful singer-songwriter, wonderful colleague, and of course the inimitable Constance Howman was Mrs. Peachum. And I'll never forget, there was a hot tub on stage. Oh, Connie, I hope you don't mind that I tell this. There was a hot tub on stage, and Connie, in her unbelievable daring, stripped down to a pair of fishnet stockings up to here. That was all. And she got into the hot tub. I was so impressed. She's a glorious singer and a fabulous actress. And then to be that daring, I was really impressed. Other things about that show that people remember are the police car that was on stage, and Polly, of course, who married McKeith. Oh, you know the story, right? Polly the Peachums are the head of the beggars, and Polly marries the chief, the head of the gang of thieves, McKeith, who sings Mac the Knife, right? And her parents aren't very happy about it, and so they arrange to have him arrested. And of course, it doesn't go any way it's supposed to. And then in the end, the Queen pardons him. The Queen of England pardons him. So on the way, of course, Polly, who thinks she's in love with McKeith, ends up pregnant, although it's not officially written in, but that's what we developed with Christopher. And so Polly upstage ends up barfing into a handbag, because, you know, that's what one does when one's pregnant. But that moment, Andreas and I joke about a lot. I should also add that Peter Littlefield was involved in the production. He and Christopher Alden are great friends, and Peter functioned as a dramaturg and had immeasurable important things to offer to all of us about the piece. I'm looking at my notes. Oh, one of the things, I'm talking a lot, I know, but one of the things that is so different doing these live events on Facebook is that for me, I'm accustomed to working before an audience, right? So as you know, there's always this exchange of energy with an audience. And of course, in this venue, there isn't that. And I realized that I really miss it. And I have sort of no gauge of how I'm doing, frankly. So there it is. So I apologize, I guess. And I also, I'm happy to have this opportunity to explore this other way of being, I guess. And yeah, so let's see my notes. Oh, you know, I want to talk a little bit more about character. Remember I said that there's the time in it for an actor when you want to prevent the character from going through what they have to go through for the show to happen. I mean, Medea has to kill her children for the show to continue. She has to, you know, these are the events. Polly has to be pregnant. Polly has to decide that she's not going to be with McKeith, and she's going to help him be arrested, except then the Queen pardons him. There's a strange safety when you aren't yourself on stage. And I think that's partly what I feel right now, is that I feel like I have to be me, and I don't think me is really that interesting. But I think my characters are really interesting. And so when I can play a character, I can, the fear or my fear goes away. I feel safe investing everything in the character. And in a way, it isn't even really me. I mean, it's not about Suzan, it's about the character. It sounds so corny, but I'm just the vehicle for it, right? I find that liberating. Then I can do whatever is necessary for the character. I can do a nude scene, for the love of God, or I can sing out of my range, or I can play someone short. No, I'm kidding. I would never do that. But I like to think that something about that process of my willingness, if you will, to let go of ego-driven Suzan, to invest in the character, somehow gives an audience an opportunity to also invest in the character and then have a cathartic experience somehow. I admire film, because film does this even, well, more intimately in a way than a stage show does. But again, I haven't done much film, but I wonder about that exchange of energy, because when you're on stage and you feel this energy coming toward you, of all different kinds. You can feel when the audience gets a little bored. You can feel when you have them and you can go on this journey together. You can feel it, and without it, well, it feels like I am in stay at home, which of course we are. Anyway, so back to characters. As I said before, my characters don't leave me very much, but I'm often really curious what they're up to now, actually. I had someone once told me they saw a show I did, and I saw them months later, and they said, you know, I always wondered what happened to her after the show. And I took that as a big compliment, because that means they were following the character enough that it was a real person to them, and they had a life that someone would be interested in following. So, you know, I was thinking it might be fun, not exactly sure how to do this, but I was thinking it might be fun to try and reach Polly. So I did a little research, and I found some phone numbers, and I thought I would, you know, try calling Polly Peachum all these years later. So the show was in 2005. Oh my goodness, is that 15 years ago? Huh. Okay, so I'm gonna call Polly. Are you laughing at my phone? This is the highest phone. This is the most impressive phone in 2005. I've got her number stored. Here we go. I'm a little nervous. It's ringing. Oh. Voicemail. I'm going to try it again. Hold on. Ringing. Hello? Polly? Polly Peachum? Hi. Hi, it's Suzan Hanson. Suzan Hanson. Yeah, I played you in a production of Threepenny Opera in Long Beach back in 2000. Yeah, hi. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you remember me. Thank you. Yes, I actually I was thinking that it would be fun to check in with some of the characters I've played over the years, and you were the first on my list. So, how are you doing? Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. So, can I ask you some questions about what you've been doing in the last years? Oh, thank you. So, you know, after the whole event, did you? Well, you know, you were pregnant, right? Yeah. So, did you have the baby? Oh, you did. And was it a boy or a girl? A boy. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, yes. And so how old is he now? Oh, of course, 15, of course. And what did you name him? Keith? Keith McKeith? Well, yeah, that's a fine name. Yeah. Uh-huh. Right. So listen, Polly, did you leave the area after? Right. Yeah, I know the Queen pardoned him, and then. Uh-huh. Well, yes, of course you would want to leave, right? And so, well, where did you go? Oh, of course you don't want to tell us. Yeah, I totally understand. So. Hello? Hello? Oh, I thought I lost you. Oh, no, thank you. Right. So what did you do for your livelihood after, you left your parents and Mac? Oh, you did. You opened a store. Oh, well, that's a good idea. Uh-huh. Oh, mostly house goods, yeah. Sheets, bedding, that kind of thing. Oh, cutlery and knives, for instance. No, Polly, I'm sorry. No, Polly, please, can we... Yes, let's just put that behind us, right? I'm sorry, that was insensitive. Yes, I'm very sorry. No, please don't hang up. Polly, well, yes, I'm sorry about that. So, do you... Oh, really? So you've stayed in touch with Lucy all these years? Oh, she is. She helps out in the store. That's wonderful. I didn't realize you were... Oh, you married Lucy Brown. Well, that's wonderful then. There are two parents to raise Keith. Right. Well, where is he? Oh, he does. He takes after his father. Oh, that... Right. So that's, yeah, that's hard. Embezzling? From you? Oh, Polly. What? No. Oh, you are women's clothing now. Yeah, I guess he probably wouldn't want to have that. So, listen, Polly, I wanted to ask if you remember anything about our production and, oh, you do? Did you? Oh, you didn't like the barfing in the handbag. Yes, it was. It was kind of strong. Mm-hmm. Yes, I understand, but okay. Well, yes, of course. The next time I play Polly Peachum, I won't barf in the handbag. I promise. Okay. Right. I'm sorry. Is someone? Oh, you're at work. Oh, I'm right. So go ahead. Right. It was nice to talk to you, Polly. I wish you well, and I hope you and Keith have a reconciliation. Right. Say hello to Lucy. Okay. Bye now. I think we should have a commercial break about now, except there aren't any. Weird to hear that a character doesn't like something that you've done. But also kind of cool. You know what I mean? That elicited a response from her. I used to believe in the days I was pure, and I once was pure like you. My wonderful someone would come to me someday, and then it would all depend on me. Wrong words, but you get the idea. He was a rich man, he was a kind man, had shirts as white as snow, and he always made me feel a lady. And I would tell him no. That's what Polly should have said, no. Anyway, I think this is an interesting idea to make some phone calls. And maybe I'll check in with some more of my characters. And maybe we'll see what they have to say. What do you think about that? Ah, I see some. Hi, Stacy. There you are. Thanks for your comments, everybody. And I hope you'll join me again for Covey Cabin Productions, which is just a name and hopefully a fun place to share some ideas about being a singer and being a thankful part of the LBO family, which I hope you will all support. And I'll find some more interesting things to say, maybe. And if I don't, I'll just play you some videos or maybe some pictures. Anyway, Thanks very much, everybody. I'm going to sign off now. See you next week.